Welcome to Pegwarmers. I'm Kevin.
And I am Kieran.
And we're here to talk about toys. How's it going, Kieran?
Pretty good.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I don't think I've been on for a while, huh?
Probably that X-Men episode.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
actually, yeah, that's true.
That was a fun
okay,
one,
yeah.
though. Yeah, so what have you been up to?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No, I've been doing like a bunch of stuff, working, playing video games, streaming, and collecting more Batmobiles.
I've randomly appeared in the background of a couple of your streams.
Yeah.
You guys were playing Mega Man last time I was here.
Yeah, I'm streaming back from my home finally,
Oh,
which
okay.
has been amazing because I can just pass out after a stream. I can just go to bed now.
Yeah,
I don't have
that's
to
nice.
drive, 20 minutes or whatever every time I leave.
That's ideal.
Yeah,
to
but
be at home.
it's been good.
It's great. So, our news segment. I got a good one here today. I think you're going to get a kick out of this one.
Okay.
It's some toy-related movie news.
Okay.
Jerry Bruckheimer is producing a movie based on Beyblade. Spinning tops.
Yeah. Why?
Let it rip. Mr. Blockbuster Jerry Bruckheimer is producing a live-action movie with Paramount based on the popular toy franchise Beyblade. The plot is still under wraps.
I'm guessing it's going to have something to do with spinning tops.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And fighting and letting it rip.
Do you think people will be inside the tops? Will they be giant tops?
Oh, do you think it's going to be like that? Or I thought it was going to be some sort of like futuristic, like
It could be.
arena style battling with the tops. I don't know. Maybe it is. What if they are
I'm
just
imagining
in giant tops?
like real steel, like they had giant robots, and so
Maybe it's about a war between the allied nations and some sort of dictator general and
I love it.
a fake Southeast Asian country. And the Beyblades are for some reason given personalities.
This would be it's in development with the Transformers studio. It's likely to be considered for franchise potential, of course. Except the toy stuff other than Transformers rarely
I don't
works
think
out for that.
I'll give it one movie unless it does like the thing is though, if you think about it, I guess the Beyblade kids are probably 20
right
something
age.
now, so or they're about to be in their 20s.
They're all going to be annoyed because the lore will be wrong.
Excuse
me.
Oh my god, can you imagine that? the way Transformers, because that was, when did the first one start coming out? Like 2005,
something like that, yeah.
or something, right? Yeah, because I think I was in high school when the first Transformers movies came out, so that had to be like 20 years later.
Yeah,
85, 95 to like 2005. Yeah, so like 20 years later. So I guess Beyblade is almost 20 years old or something. Is it?
that probably seems about right.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's upsetting. When trends that were like I was too old for to begin with are already turning 20.
yeah.
That's kind of upsetting.
So the scripting duo that's working on this wrote the adaptation for Our Man, a comic book movie for Warner Brothers that I guess hasn't come out yet. So I don't know whether these guys are good or not.
Is that like Our Man as in like
Yeah, as in clock.
time?
like
Okay,
hour,
not like
yes.
Our Man.
No,
That's
so
Our
Man is a DC superhero who has like superpowers for 1 hour
Okay.
kind of thing.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
He's one of the old school like Justice Society of America characters.
Okay.
He has like an hourglass thing.
Okay.
that
That's
activates.
kind of cool. That's
Yeah.
a cool idea.
And then it looks like they also wrote Now You See Me 3.
I don't even know Now I See Me
Isn't
one
that like
or
is that
two.
the magic? Are those magic movies?
I don't know. I have no idea. I've never even heard of those movies.
Let's see.
Let alone
should we predict it
3 of
now?
them.
This is going to be a huge success. Just like Pegwarmers exclusive. Beyblade is going to be amazing.
Beyblade. I think it's going to get canceled after the first. I don't know. Maybe it won't.
It'll be
Maybe
a
it won't.
development hell like He-Man.
It's gonna. You know what? Maybe it's gonna have a new. Some sort of child star
Oh yeah.
from the early 2000s that grows up to play it. They're gonna do 3 movies. It's going to cause him to have like a weird mental breakdown, like it did with Shia LaBeouf, like same exact thing. And then he's gonna end up going on and doing like weird art house films
Okay.
after this. Michael Bay. It's not Michael Beyblade, is it? Like,
No.
it's not him.
I'm sure they're going to try and do that style though.
Yeah, probably. There's just
Lots of
explosions
explosions
and it's
hot chicks
oversaturated
everywhere.
everything. Yeah, it's gonna be horrible. I think it's gonna be terrible. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be kids that are gonna freak out, but that's stupid as hell. That's like when they made the Ouija board movie.
Yeah. Well.
and it's like oh Ouija, but it's like sponsored by Hasbro or whatever. Like
Well,
like
they did Battleship.
Battleship, which was kind of dumb
Battleship
too.
actually at least sort of works as just an action movie with a toy name slapped on it.
I think you could have had it where like it was almost like Hunt for Red October kind of style
that-
instead of
I
making
think-
it like aliens and
I
stuff.
think that's what you would assume for a battleship game.
That's the thing is eventually it turns into it's a movie about a battleship
Yeah.
with the name Battleship based on the game, but then it has nothing to do with anything else. And then is the sequel going to be called Electronic Talking Battleship as the sequel to it?
I love it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I would like to see that movie, Electronic Talking Battleship. And it's about like a talking battleship that like speaks to everybody.
The alien technology makes the ship sentient.
Yeah.
And it can talk on its own.
And he can talk.
I love it.
I like that. Make that.
All right, our next segment is new to the collection, and I brought 3 new G.I. Joes to my collection. Gentle Giant, years ago, did jumbo Star Wars figures, and then started on a train of jumbo G.I. Joes. And I passed on them at first, because they were straight arm figures. They're based on the 82 Joes, and I was convinced they're going to do them in 82 style, and then they'll redo them in 83 style, and the 83 figures, in my opinion, are superior. Mm-hmm. They have one more swivel. So I passed on them, and the line just kind of died. I think a lot of people were less interested in maybe those characters. They didn't do any bad guys. They didn't do a Cobra Commander. They didn't do, any of the like really cool 85, 86 characters that are kind of the high watermark. So they did Rock and Roll, Stalker, Snake Eyes, Grunt, and Zap, I think, were the ones that got released.
Okay.
But so, 3 of them are just straight up green shirts.
Yeah,
you have one
exactly.
guy in camo and Snake Eyes. So it just didn't have the legs to keep going, even though it's a cool concept. It would be tough to collect a line like that also for every character.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it for Star Wars. They didn't make all of them, but they made a considerable number.
Mm-hmm.
But I picked up these 3. A friend of mine was selling off some of the stuff from his collection. He had multiple sets he had bought. He was originally going to try and do, I think he was going to make customs or something like that. And then he decided, nah, it's too much of an investment to paint them. So I ended up picking them up. I'm pretty excited for those. I like those 3. I mean, if I was only going to get 3 of the 5, I think those are the 3
You chose
to get.
good ones, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're really in it. What were was the retail price on them originally?
I don't remember what they sold.
Yeah, because I wonder if they were expensive. Because
they were pretty expensive. Yeah, because it's large and it's like a collector item, so it's low production run.
GI Joe figures nowadays have just seemed so gimmicky.
Yeah,
there's a lot of we were talking earlier, like the reaction ones and everything. But I actually like these.
Yeah, it's fun that they're
really
O-ring.
Yeah,
but sized up. The cool thing about them is they really remind me of the 2-Ups. I don't know if you've ever seen the Toys That Made Us episode on G.I. Joe. It's like a Netflix series. So I've seen them other places, but they get shown off pretty well in that. When Hasbro made the G.I. Joes, they would sculpt it bigger than it gets made finally, and they would hand paint them and stuff like that. And these 2-Ups that they call them still exist. Some of them have gotten out in collectors' hands, but Hasbro has a bunch. And when they interviewed Daryl DePriest, who was one of the brand managers for G.I. Joe for a while, he had a bunch on his desk.
Oh, cool.
And they're just so neat because they're just a jumbo G.I. Joe. And so that's what these kind of remind me of, and that's kind of like the only way to have those unless you're a collector in the know and you're spending thousands of dollars to get one on the rare occasion that another collector's letting one go.
Yeah.
Like the Sergeant Slaughter one went for thousands of dollars at Hicks auction
I can imagine,
a little while ago.
Yeah, they're cool. They'd make really good wall art. These figures.
They're cool for wall art, or if you have a favorite character, because like I said, trying to collect them all would be kind of crazy if they did all of the Joes. But I would love to have Beachhead because he's kind of like the guy I collect.
Or Cobra Commander was the one I would totally want.
The 85 Snake Eyes with Timber would be phenomenal.
Yeah, that would be really neat. Seeing a big Timber.
That'd be cool.
No, but they're really neat. They're very accurate to the originals, like the way they look and everything. They don't look goofy or anything. They look really solid.
Yeah, I really like them. So that's my new to the collection. Our main topic today is G.I. Joe as a brand moving forward. We're in the 40th anniversary of the 3 3/4 inch figures.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so the guys these are based on are turning 40. And so Hasbro has recently announced a bunch of new stuff, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it with you and get your opinions and thoughts on stuff and share some of my thoughts on it. We're both pretty big fans of G.I. Joe as a property. Maybe different levels of diehardness. You've said before you collect Cobra Commander figures for the most part. I'm a crazy person that just collects everything for the most part.
I used to be heavy into collecting the 25th anniversary.
I remember
when that
those
came
days.
out. And then the thing is, all my GI Joes, my original ones as a kid, burn up in a fire.
Wow.
Yeah, they were at my dad's house. There was an electrical fire in their living room, and it went through where the TV is, which is where my GI Joes.
Okay.
I left them there that weekend, and it all happened. They were a puddle of
Oh my gosh.
like just pieces and molten plastic. It was
Wow.
bad. It was just charred plastic. Sadly.
And you were a kid then, or
Yeah,
like,
I was a kid.
okay, yeah.
No,
that's-
it happened.
I wasn't sure
like,
if you meant like you had them stored there or something.
No,
later.
I brought them to my dad's house one weekend, and
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna just leave them here because I'll
play with them
I'll
next
play with
time.
them when I come back. And everyone was out one day, and there was some electrical fire in the living room. Nothing got like the house was fine. It
Yeah.
was just that the living room got completely
G.I.
messed
Joes
up, and
saved-
all my GI Joes, yeah,
Saved the rest of the
gone.
house.
I had the what's it called, the Patriot tank. I had the Apache helicopter that made
Oh, yeah.
sounds. I had the plane that was like a squirt gun, the one
The
Cobra jet.
Liquidator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I had Outpost USA, I think it was. Where it's the one that looks
Fort
like
America?
the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fort America. Yeah, it looks like a wall, and it turns into a tank. And they're like blow up that wall, and it's like, oh no, it's actually a tank. It's not a
no.
brick wall. Yeah, I had all those, and they were just destroyed everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was too bad, but so I got into collecting those, and then honestly, I haven't really. I've been kind of snoozing on the classified line. I just have 3 or
Oh, yeah.
4. I have 4. I have Flint is the only GI Joe I have, and then I have regular Cobra Commander. I have Prophet Director Destro, and I have the Supreme Snake Cobra Commander.
Gotcha. So there's been a lot of new G.I. Joe product lately. We have the reaction figures that are in stores right now. We have classified that's going
Yeah.
on. And then they just sort of recently started the O-ring style Joes again.
There's also the Snake Eyes movie stuff that's
Yes.
still on. That's a peg warmer for you right
I
there.
wasn't even
actually.
going to mention the Snake Eyes movie stuff.
Yeah, they haven't been moving. I go every
No.
day and I see everybody. Like it's not even
Yeah.
like certain figures they're selling.
The classified ones are hanging around. The kid line, I don't know if they sold well and just
Mm-hmm.
are gone and never got restocked, but I've seen very few of the kitty movie toys because there was actually a
Oh.
Night Creeper figure from that line
Yeah,
that I
that
was going to try and get, but I haven't seen them.
I haven't seen any of those either. I think those sold more than the
That's what I'm
I
assuming.
think because one, like a lot of people, I didn't see the Snake Eyes movie actually. Now that I
Okay.
think about it, I actually forgot that movie even happened.
Better to forget that it happened.
Yeah,
probably.
it's one of those movies that I feel like it kind of took advantage of the pandemic and how movies just weren't coming out because now we're getting good
Yes.
movies again. It feels
Right.
like, and that movie just came out at a time where it was like, I'll see it, I guess. Why not?
Eventually,
Yeah,
maybe.
but I haven't even watched it yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
I saw it in theaters opening weekend.
yeah,
Yeah.
nah. Something else came out around that time. I don't remember what it was either. Like all the movies in pandemic were just
Yeah,
pretty burnt.
I didn't watch. I think Shang-Chi, Snake Eyes, and there might have been one other one I saw in the theaters during like pandemic-y time.
I saw Shang-Chi I watched it on Disney Plus when it came
Okay.
out. Yeah, I watched all those
Yeah.
except for Spider-Man. I
Right,
went and
I
saw
saw
that
Spider-Man in the
theaters,
theater.
yeah. But
So the O-ring line was mostly announced with a Hasbro Pulse HasLab
yeah,
like Kickstarter
yeah.
thing for a Sky Striker jet that's like super detailed that comes with Ace and his co-pilot from the box art that was never a figure.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Weird.
and then they had a bunch of stretch goals to get other O-ring figures.
Is
So-
it the Ace with the fishball?
bubble helmet, yep.
Okay.
So one of the stretch goals was Scarlet in a blue version of that Ace outfit, so they just had to sculpt a head.
Okay.
Then there was a Night Force Ripcord figure who uses some of the same parts as the co-pilot figure.
Okay.
And then they were going to also do a ground crew. So 2 guys with the like flashlight directing
cool.
things.
Yeah.
We didn't get them. It didn't fund far enough, but they were going to use Ripcord body parts too. And at the last second, sort of to try and bolster sales, I guess it was, the Rancor was failing and the Sky Striker was doing okay. They threw in a Cobra Commander and 2 Cobra like pilot figures that were basically Cobra Troopers and a sticker sheet so you could make it a Cobra Sky Striker instead.
Oh.
I mean, I'll take the figures, but I'm not going to put Cobra stickers on my Sky Striker.
Didn't too? They're coming out with like a Cobra Commander thing that's like he comes with a vamp for some reason. I think. And someone was like, "Why didn't they make it the Hiss tank? And then why didn't they just make it like?"
I'm not sure which thing you're talking about. There's
I can't
Jada
remember.
Toys that makes diecast cars is doing a Stinger.
That might
black
be what I'm
Jeep
talking.
with Cobra Commander.
That's what I'm talking about. It's Cobra Commander with the Stinger.
Yeah,
That's
so
right. Yeah,
Destro came
Vamp
with a Hiss
is the
tank.
GI Joe version
Right.
of the Stinger. Yeah,
And they put a Duke figure with that.
yeah, which I was like, why would you put him on a Van or a Stinger? Why wouldn't you put him on?
They just did Destro with the Hiss already.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you know,
just
the next vehicle that they wanted to tool up, I guess.
Or give it. You know what I always liked was the stun.
The stun is really
The
cool.
stun is weird. Yeah, it's got those
really
two
cool.
pods and everything.
Yeah.
I always liked that thing for some reason.
People complain about that and the Havoc for being too goofy in
Yeah.
86, but I just think they're fun toys.
Which one's the Havoc? Is that
It's
the
the
one where
green
they,
one with the big windshield.
and they lay down
Yeah,
in it? Yeah,
yeah.
which I always was like, what the hell
It's
is
weird,
this? Like,
but-
could you imagine that thing? The second it goes out in a battlefield, an explosion would just shatter the glass in all their faces while they're laying down, and they would just get shot
it's
to shit.
bulletproof glass. I don't know.
Yeah, my friend used to always laugh because it's like, wow, the military engineers who really thought about the tactical applications of, you could just place a guy on top of it.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
everyone is exposed.
Right.
Everything's a giant turret where you could just get destroyed instantly.
Some of that was just playability, like the
Yeah.
original Mobat, the first tank for GI Joe. Like you should be able to put him all the way inside, but you just can't.
They're always up at the top.
Just just the way they design them for
Yeah.
ease of play. And it is really frustrating as a kid if you can like lose the guy inside and you're trying to like fish them back out. And I think they're just
Yeah.
sort of trying to avoid that frustration level.
That is true. I used to always hate the what's it called, the hammerhead. It was always such a pain
yeah.
putting them in the seats. Like when I was a kid, like trying to get them into the seats and stick them into those little rings and stuff.
Well, they did a whole bunch of different things over the years. At one point, Joe's had like the back pegs on some of the vehicles, like the Fang they peg into. Then they started doing the little seat belts. Then they did those C clips. I never was a fan of the C clips.
Yeah, the C clips always broke.
They're
You'd
really
always
hard.
eventually bend it the wrong way or something, or it would snap eventually.
And it
you left it outside.
Put a lot
it
of
would-
like wear and tear on the figures too, like it's
Yeah.
scraping up the figures. But you got to figure out how to not have the guys all flop around inside.
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess so.
So the O-ring line, they just released a Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow figure for that line.
Okay.
They could order them through Pulse. They come carded
Oh
on
yeah,
card backs.
I've seen them a couple
They
times.
come with
yeah.
some extra accessories. So like it's the 82 Snake Eyes, but he also has like an Uzi.
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah, it's that body, but he has those accessories and like a more modern Uzi and sword and backpack that came with the I think the 89 release of Snake Eyes. And then the Storm Shadow pretty much has the standard Storm Shadow accessories. He might come with something extra, maybe some arrows or something that he can that are separate. I forget what all is in there. But those are nice looking, and so they're expanding that line. And they've announced a Cobra Commander Duke 2-pack. Those figures look like the original figures, except they're painted like the cartoon colors. So it's like Cobra Commander's a slightly different shade of blue.
yeah,
He's got a
different
little
blue.
bit of detailing.
Duke's got that kind of yellowy shirt, I guess, or whatever. Okay.
Like Cobra Commander, instead of having like black or gold or whatever trim, he's got the gray belt like in the cartoon and stuff. So they're doing those, and that wasn't too much of a shocker since they had already thrown in Cobra Commander and Cobra Troopers with the Sky Striker. You knew they had those molds already cooking. And then they announced a Cobra Trooper Officer 2-pack.
Okay.
So you get an officer, you get a Cobra Trooper, they're packed together. And some of their extra accessories, they have like a missile launcher and a few other things. And they're sort of nods to other releases because there was a mail-away version or a Sears exclusive version where the Cobra Trooper came with Zap's missile launcher and some extra accessories.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a neat little reference built into those.
Yeah.
So the O-ring line is slowly building. I wish the O-ring stuff was a little bit more unique. They're giving them a unique paint scheme, some of them. Like the Cobra Trooper and the Officer are pretty much just re-releases.
Mm-hmm.
The Snake Eyes and the Storm Shadow are pretty much re-releases. The Duke and Cobra Commander at least have some paint differences. But I would love... Do you remember when they did the comic 3-packs?
Yeah, where they would paint them like the comic
Those were
colors.
really great, but I loved that they had like new heads. And
Yep.
they tried to make a few new characters. Like we got Quinn in that line, and we got the Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and Stalker, but in their Vietnam era.
Yeah.
Like I loved the creativity that was put into those, and I think the O-ring line could be really cool if they would at least do that once in a while. I don't mind them doing a lot mostly reissues because that's probably easy on design.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But it's less adventurous.
Especially nowadays, I don't know what it is, but like I wonder if they're just afraid that these won't sell.
Yeah.
Like the classified ones are flying off the shelves, but are people going to want to go back to picking up O-ring figures when they already have so many?
I think there's so many people that are thirsty for O-rings.
Yeah, I do too. Honestly, when they were talking about like the retro line or whatever, I thought it was
everybody
be
thought it was
O-ring
going to be
figures.
O-ring,
and it was just re-releases of like 25th anniversary lines.
Yeah,
and they with like different stuff. I think like they had different faces. It's kind of like when they did like I started getting over it when they did the 30th anniversary, and it was just the same figures with a different head, and they weren't even as good as like the Pursuit of Cobra line or anything like that. They were kind of like eh.
So then one more O-ring figure got announced in a special pack. There's an O-ring Baroness, but she's coming with Megatron, who is a Hiss tank.
That's cool.
It's the first time we're getting a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover where the Transformer is both a vehicle and a Transformer.
And it transforms.
And
like
it
it actually, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
For that scale, because they did a Snowcat one time, and there was a Power Glide repainted as a Cobra Rattler kind of thing.
Yeah.
But those were like just Transformer toys that didn't scale with G.I. Joes. And then we've had the Sky Striker painted up as Megatron.
But it doesn't do anything. Starscream.
Yeah, but it can't transform. So this is the first time they're doing that.
And I think that was a San Diego Comic-Con thing, wasn't it?
They did 3 or 4 San Diego sets like that, which were all cool. But for a Transformers fan, it's a little frustrating that it doesn't transform.
It doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's just the colors. That's it. That's why when I saw it, I was like, that's just the 25th anniversary Sky Striker that they had years ago.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't want it again, you know?
I got the Jetfire one.
Jetfire?
It had the Jetfire paint scheme on that, and then the Vamp was painted up as Hound.
Okay.
And that was the set that came with Baroness walking Ravage on like a leash,
okay,
which was kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
That whole set was neat. But I just could never justify getting all of those sets. They were so expensive.
Was that based off like the IDW one that they did, or who did it? I think it was. Was it IDW?
I think it was Devil's Due that was doing that series, but I don't know if it was specifically based on an issue or anything. But it was just that era.
Yeah,
that era was popular.
They did one like somewhat recently because they did Transformers versus G.I. Joe and the Marvel ones, but they did one recently where it's like Cobra uncovers the Decepticons. Yeah. And they start using them as the Hiss tanks, and it's also too like it's kind of its own thing. It's a standalone.
Yeah, it's its own continuity.
Yeah, and then it turns out one of the Hiss tanks is Optimus Prime, and he's like, "I'm not doing this."
Right.
And then he finds the rest of the Autobots, and then it was pretty fun. Like it was a good.
I enjoyed the.
I think Major Blood gets killed by Starscream. I think by getting into Starscream, and then Starscream crushes him inside of him.
Yeah.
By transforming, so I thought that was kind of cool. Because Major Blood's always got to die, I guess. Like, they always have to kill him off. He's the one Joe.
He's expendable.
I mean, Cobra that they can just kill. Him and Crocmaster and Raptor.
So the Megatron looks pretty good from the front. It's a little clunky when it's in robot form because it sort of has that whole cockpit hanging off its back, which is
it a full size? Like it's actually like a Hiss tank like that?
Yeah,
big?
It's like a 3 3/4 inch size Hiss tank.
That's cool.
And then it opens up.
Either way, I'd say even if it is clunky, I'd still take it.
It's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
The pre-order for that sold out like right away. So I don't know if they'll issue more of those at some point.
If you'll ever see them anywhere,
right?
Like that's going to be a convention kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it might just be Pulse only.
No, I mean like you'll see it.
Oh yes, at a convention.
It.
Yeah, that's true. And then, so that was all of the O-ring figures that they talked about. I'm sure they've got a whole bunch more cooked up and they'll release down the line, but that's what they talked about. And the other crazy thing is that some of these pre-orders are for like 2 years from now. Like,
yeah, that's
production is so slow and so behind on stuff like this that it's like,
yeah,
they're taking our money for way off.
Plus now oil's going back up, so we're gonna have another plastic thing again.
Well, everybody's gonna use this to jack up the prices of toys again.
Yeah,
which just keeps happening. And
which already is. Yeah,
unfortunately, it's gonna price people out of collecting.
That's why I collect those. I collect Batmobiles, die-cast metal. It's okay. It's not reliant on the oil.
Good thinking. So then for classified, there's actually 2 different lines that are in that scale going on right now. They're relaunching retro.
Okay.
We had, like you mentioned, the 25th anniversary style guys repackaged in old style cards. It was not really what anybody wanted.
Yeah. I think everyone was just kind of sick of that look by now. If it's
Yeah,
not
and,
25th
like,
anniversary line, you're not doing a full thing. Nobody wants that.
why pack those guys in old cards?
Yeah.
It was like a mismatch.
Just feels like they had extra cards, they had extra figures, like extra molds or
I
whatever.
think it was just an
throw 'em
easy, like, we don't have to design the cards because they already exist. And we
Yeah.
don't have to design the figures, they already exist. Stick them together.
Yep.
So they're redoing retro now, but it's in the classified scale. So they're still going to be on those old style cards, but they're just way bigger.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah, so I think I think it's a better option. I think O-ring or classified scale is the way to go.
Yeah.
Not
That's going to be kind of cool seeing like taller. Actually, Marvel's been doing that.
Yes.
Marvel's been doing like the old school 90s, like Fantastic Four and X-Men figures, but
Right.
they're doing like the universe style figures, I think it is. Legends, Marvel Legends, I think.
Yeah, the
it
Marvel
is.
Legends, but they've been like in the old Toy Biz packs.
Yeah.
And it's Hasbro. Like, how do you not go from one department to another? Like, hey,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. We should be doing it too.
I'm sure that's what probably happened. Like someone's like, hey, we should be doing that with G.I. Joe.
So they're doing a Lady J figure with the hat on.
Okay.
They're doing Destro, and he's similar to his classified version, but it's a little less techno-y in the
cartoony,
details, a little
like
more
what-
cartoony.
yeah.
Yep. They're doing Gung Ho, thank God, in like his goofy blue.
The blue one.
But
okay.
everybody loves that blue.
Yeah,
He's
I
got
do
the
too.
Marine logo, the right, like,
Did they do Gung Ho in the
Gung
last
Ho was
line?
in classifieds.
Okay.
But he has like a mohawk under his hat, and he has like just a sort of Marine looking tattoo, but not really the Marines logo.
Okay.
And they just missed the mark. A lot of those early classified guys where it's like, yeah, I can tell who it is, but it's not quite what I remember.
Yeah.
And there are some fans out there that are glad they're pushing the envelope. And in some ways, it is nice that, like, hey, we're giving you something new. It's inspired
Yeah.
by the old, but also deep down, most of the fans really just want the old figures remade.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is honestly what the majority of the audience wants, and I think they finally
Yeah.
figured that out. They slowly kept stepping closer and closer, and these retro ones are like,
I'm hoping. I mean,
Really
if they
on that.
keep doing this, maybe they'll make a Ninja Force like classified style.
hilarious.
Like all the that would be. I'd buy those.
that'd be great. And then they're doing a Baroness figure in that style. So then regular classifieds. So these guys some of them are more like the original figures, and some are more new designs. They kind of have a gamut on the classified figures with that. So they've previously announced, but they just finally opened up pre-orders for a Sergeant Stalker figure.
Okay.
They did Tomax and Zaymont.
That's cool.
That's awesome. And they look exactly like their retro figure. So that's one of those examples of like they're part of the classified line, but they
Yeah.
could have been in a retro package if they wanted them to
I
be.
wonder if that's going to be like how they made the Baroness figure that came with the bike, and it was
Yeah.
a bit bigger. Like if they do, because you got to do that in a 2-pack.
Right.
I
Yeah, I
can't
don't know what
imagine buying
I don't know
them.
what I don't know if they're going to be sold separately, which would be odd.
That would be so weird,
Yes,
though.
it'd be very weird. Or if they're going to be in some sort of special packaging. They haven't shown packaging shots of
I'd
them yet.
imagine they'd sell them together. That would be weird, though.
I think they
Yeah,
should.
they oughta.
I think it would confuse non-diehard
Yeah.
Joes, like at retail, like, wait, why
Yeah.
why is this case so heavy with this one guy? Oh, it's really two guys. Like, it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
And then they're doing a Cobra Officer Cobra Viper pack. So it's 3 Viper figures. It's like a slight repaint for
Okay.
2 of them, and then one has a very unique like officer paint scheme to it. So
That's cool.
an army building pack. It comes with some like blast effects you can like plug onto the guns and things like
I'd
that.
pick that up because the Viper's my favorite.
And the Vipers were hard to get. In
Yeah,
this
I
line.
couldn't find one at all, and I really like the Viper. That's my favorite because they're like the special forces of Cobra.
Yep.
They're the guys that go and do send them out,
Right.
and they're rough dudes who go in and do all the like heavy. They're like the Navy SEALs or like Green Berets of Cobra.
And it's just such a great design. Like
Yeah,
that figure.
The face mask is cool.
Face mask is cool. I always liked the gauntlet things that they
Yeah.
have. It's just a great.
Yeah,
setup.
the Vipers have always been my favorite, like troop.
Yeah.
They've always been my favorite. Them, and then next is Crimson Guard are my favorite after that.
So then in classified, that was actually newly announced. So those pre-order guys had been shown already, but
Mm-hmm.
are finally available for actual like new figures that there's no way of ordering them yet, but they're coming soon. You mentioned Crimson Guard,
Okay.
and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like that bright silver on the deep red.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so perfect. That
No,
figure.
I would love a Crimson Guard figure. And I mean, it makes sense they're coming out with Tomax and Zaymon,
right.
so
You got
the commanders of them. Yeah.
the Crimson Guards to command. They're doing Zorana.
Okay, cool.
So we're adding another female to the line. It's actually interesting how many females we're getting in classifieds, considering it was like one a year in the old line. There's so few women in the total G.I. Joe toy line, but because of the way they're doing classifieds, it's like we're almost always getting a woman.
Yeah.
You know, we had Baroness Scarlet, Lady J,
The only thing
Zorana.
is, that's the only thing, the Lady J figure you mentioned earlier, that's my least favorite Lady J.
Okay.
I don't like that design. I just think she looks weird.
Yeah.
With the hat and everything. I like the cartoon
version.
Lady J. I think that's the one like everybody remembers.
Right.
I don't know.
No, that makes sense.
There's also like Cover Girl, but no one ever cares about Cover Girl. Like no one.
She's. I think because she was a vehicle driver, she's less remembered.
Yeah, Jinx
get a
was
lot of-
probably like the next one that everybody like because
Yeah.
of the movie.
Yeah.
But but you always just get like it's always a million Baronesses and a million Scarlets, and you get the two Lady J's once in a while. I think the Lady J for the 25th you had to get her with a with the DVD pack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she
Maybe.
came with one of the DVD packs. That was the only way to get the
Oh, the one that
the
looked like the cartoon
style.
style. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I can't remember which one. I think it was like the Mass Device or something like that. She
Yeah,
came
that
with.
was a good figure though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. And then Target is getting a whole. Oh wait, I've missed Dusty. So they're doing Dusty,
Okay.
which is cool. He's got like his little
Yeah.
hood on the back and the nice brown camouflage and everything.
Did Dusty come out in the 80s or was he a 90s
He
figure?
was from '85.
Okay.
There was a '90s version of him that had a beret. It came with a little.
That's the one that was the
wolf.
Yeah, he was
Coyote.
he because they had the desert scorpions because everything was very like Gulf War at
Yes.
that point. So they had like Dusty was like that and Ambush and stuff like
And there
that.
was like
lot
a
of
Duke
those guys.
figure that was in the chocolate chip camo.
Yeah, and I had also that Duke that came with the giant weird backpack that was a rocket launcher and he was like red and
Yes.
yeah, that's the one you mean, right? Is that
Well,
one
so there
or-
was that version
Okay.
that kind of looks desert camo, but he has bright red. And then they did another version of him that had brown spots, but the helmet was like sculpted on. It was like a totally different release. But so there were two sort of deserty
Okay,
Dukes.
does he have like sunglasses that Duke or no?
No, but he's got like goggles molded on top the helmet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that one. That's weird.
Yeah.
There were a lot of weird like G.I. Joe figures that I didn't know who they were most of the time because I would trade friends or
Yeah,
something too at that time.
I had that when I was really little with the early Joes. I
Yeah.
got them from like other kids or from flea markets. I had a Lamprey, the driver to the hydrofoil,
yeah.
and I just pretended he was Battle Helmet Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
because he had like a visor and he was kind of blue.
I
and
liked the
just wanted
Lamprey.
Cobra Commander so bad.
I had the Lamprey, but it was the Sonic Fighter,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Was it that one?
The bright colored one.
Yeah,
orange.
yeah, it was right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that one, and I used to just pretend he was Cobra Commander also, actually, because he had the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then Dr. Mindbender is getting a figure, which is great. And
Yeah, that's interesting.
He's coming with like a faux leather cape,
Oh, cool.
which is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're doing Kamakara.
Oh, yeah,
Kamakura.
yeah, Kamakura.
So he was like a apprentice to Snake Eyes. He came out in the.
He's the Green Ninja, and
Yep.
like I think his figure is like really similar to someone else. I think it might have been like Nunchuck or something like that. I think
Okay.
when they were
bit.
re-releasing the figures, what was it? I forget. There was something where he looks like someone else. Oh, he looks like or no, I think I'm thinking of somebody
Nunchuck
else.
looked like Quick Kick in the Joe vs. Cobra.
There was also too. What was the other guy who was like a samurai? There was Bushido, and there was somebody else. Budo, and then there was I think Kamakura. One of the figures later, he looks like a different version of Storm. Or no, what's that one that's a different version of Storm Shadow?
Ginzu.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's Storm Shadow, but he has like I think orange and
Yep.
blue instead or something like that.
Yeah,
That might be what
from
I'm
the
thinking
Ninja
of.
Force.
Kamakura was in.
He was out later. He was in like the Venom vs. Valor.
Yeah,
where they were
yeah.
like Venomous Maximus. And the
Yeah,
weird
I
DNA
had a
stuff.
bunch of those because when they came out, I was like, I might not ever get G.I. Joe figures again. I might as well buy as many as I can.
So he debuted in the Devil's Due comic. It was a series called Master and Apprentice, and he was popular enough from the comic that he made the jump into the toy line.
Okay.
And it's sort of weird because that continuity, the Devil's Due continuity, came out of the Marvel run, but then they brought Larry Hama back when it went to IDW, and he started from where he left off on Marvel, And so it's sort of like this alternate timeline of G.I. Joe history.
Yeah.
And
IDW got real dark. That was when they did the whole like Cobra Civil War.
well, so that was part of that.
Yeah.
But and that's its own timeline too.
I have
like
the
a weird
whole
thing.
comic line of that.
Yeah.
I have the Cobra Civil War into like when they announce who's the new Cobra Commander, and then I have like that afterwards where the zombies come in.
Okay.
And I have what was it? The one was it just G.I. Joe Cobra, the one where it's Chuckles?
Yeah.
And he's undercover and he shoots
That's a
Cobra
great-
Commander in the
that's a great
face
one.
at the end. That one's an awesome series. I read through all of those. I that was my favorite line of comics. Like
That's where
like-
Chuckles finally got some respect.
yeah, it was so cool that it was like, oh, we're gonna take Chuckles and make him into this badass undercover agent. You never would have thought, like, especially from the movie and everything. But they made Chuckles into this awesome dude, and he takes down and then it doesn't even matter anyway because they have contingencies and everything.
Right.
As you find out, it's pretty good.
So Kamakura is Snake Eyes' Vietnam buddy's son that
Okay.
he trains, and that character has a very different trajectory between the Devil's Due and the current IDW run with Larry Hama. They've used Wade Collins' son, but in sort of like different directions, but still a ninja guy. And it's kind of interesting. I don't want to necessarily spoil stuff if people are into the IDW thing.
Gotcha.
Even though it's a super old storyline, I guess at this point.
Oh,
but
well,
it's
maybe
just
I
kind of
shouldn't
cool.
have said what I said earlier.
No, it's fine. The thing you're talking about is even older. You know.
Yeah, this was like what? Like I was in college, I think, when I was reading this.
It's an odd thing when I read comics, like to try and remember when things happen.
Yeah.
I'm always behind when I'm reading them anyway. Like, I'm really bad at keeping current. Like I'll go to the comic book store, even though I have a pull file and I should go every month and get it. I'll end up going like 3 months later because I almost enjoy reading them in a chunk better than
Honestly,
like one issue at a time.
I was weird about it because I was buying them as they came out, but I would buy all the alternate covers. So I have the ones that are like I have the ones that like are the action figure covers where they recreate and
that.
stuff. Yeah, those were pretty funny. I have all those, and I was reading those like crazy. I was like super into them. I even bought like one the Cobra Commander. The cover is a scratch off.
Oh, okay.
So it was the issue when they announced who is the new Cobra Commander, you could scratch off the face. So I bought one to scratch off and one to not scratch
they
off.
suckered you on that one.
Yeah, and I scratched one off, and I have the other one still that was never. But
Yeah.
I was like, I knew who it was, but I was like, I don't know. I won't spoil it if you haven't read it.
Somebody
But
hasn't read it.
It's also the biggest letdown of all time, pretty much.
Well, you can't replace a classic character
Yeah.
without it being a letdown. It never works. It never works.
Yeah.
It's like the death of Superman or the breaking of the Bat. Like
Yeah,
it's never as interesting as the real character.
No.
They gotta go back later. And then for the last bunch of classified guys that they announced, they are all Python Patrol and Tiger Force figures, which means they're Target exclusives.
Repainted too. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're just
so they're either repaints of figures we have, or they're going to get repainted in their real colors
are you
at
gonna
some
get
point.
Flint, like Tiger Force Flint?
So they didn't go so obvious yet.
Okay.
They are still rolling out some new molds. I'm sure we'll get those Tiger Force Duke and Flint kind of stuff eventually.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know either. I'm sure we'll get those eventually.
Yeah.
The Tiger Force Flint and Duke. But they're doing Tiger Force Bazooka.
That's cool.
I'm super excited about that. Bazooka was my only Tiger Force figure as a kid back in the day. And he's got a nice, like, bulky sculpt to him.
Yeah.
A little bit bigger than most of the Joes look, which is great because Bazooka as a figure wasn't necessarily bigger because they were pretty uniform back in the 80s.
Yeah.
But we've seen in later, like, cartoon/comic book continuity, they generally represent him with
He's
more
a bit
of
more husky
football
guy,
player build kind of thing, which is great. They're doing Tiger Force Recondo.
Okay.
So Recondo is the jungle trooper who became the pilot of the Tigerfly helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure anybody that's a Recondo fan or a Bazooka fan will be excited for them to eventually paint them as normal colors.
Yeah.
And then they're doing a Python Patrol officer.
Okay.
So it's the Cobra Trooper with like the green
the green
shirt.
and black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
So
that.
I mean that's a fun repaint. I personally am not a diehard Python Patrol fan. I think the vehicles look awesome.
Yeah.
The guys are always a little bit weird. Like
I
they're
think their
a little
color
too
looks
bright.
stupid. I didn't like it ever.
I have it's mixed feelings for me. I love the vehicles because that maroonish color with the silver looks really cool. But yeah, the bright green, like especially the crimson Python Crimson Guard with the yellow shirt.
Yeah, those were weird.
Terrible.
I didn't like them either.
Oh.
Real weird recolor.
Yeah.
Did they ever make an Alley Viper?
They didn't. Not an official release.
Okay.
There are some. There's a bunch of like bootleg third-party GI Joe people that have tooled up old O-ring figures and released them in like every sub team you could ever imagine.
I saw like there's art of on the side of one of the boxes. There's that, you know, and then it's the
you mean a regular Alley Viper?
Yeah,
yes, yes, they did release it. It's basically out now, that and the bat, but they're very hard to find.
Okay.
I thought you meant a
They made a
Python
bat
Patrol.
like a classified one.
Yes.
No
it's
shit.
Fantastic.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Huh.
Good luck finding one though.
Yeah. Right. I mean, good luck finding any of
When
these.
they hit the store, they're just gone.
Yeah. I didn't even know. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I have no idea what's out most of the time because I never see them in stores.
Yeah, it's very hard. If you're not like watching pre-sales, good luck trying.
I'm glad I picked up the Cobra Commander when I did because I saw it. It was the only one there.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab it. And I was like, I don't care. I'm not gonna see this figure ever again if I don't grab it now.
Right.
So I did, and I'm really glad I did because I found a couple out by on 611.
Okay.
If you're driving from Philly, there's like a couple Targets and stuff like that. If you hit those ones, I found a bunch of like, and I went to the one of the malls out there too, and I was at an FYE and there was a ton of figures, just like a whole bunch of classified.
That's one of those
figures.
places that people don't always think to look.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
They're probably paying an extra $1 for them though.
I think they were like. I think they were almost the same price. I also went to a GameStop and they had them.
Yep, sometimes
And
GameStop gets them.
Then, you know, but they only had Flint, so I picked up Flint and that was it. But most of the other ones, I didn't see anybody I wanted. Like I wanted the Viper, but I couldn't find that one ever. So I just like passed on the rest of them. But I think I saw like Cobra Trooper.
Okay.
I saw a couple of those and I passed on them like an idiot. I should have picked it up.
Should have picked it up.
Because the troop builders
Especially
are
the
always,
army builders.
Yeah, they're always like
good to go. So at this point now, I mean, the line has grown exponentially since the first episode of Pegwarmers where we talked about classifieds.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you want to see in O-ring reissue or classified that still hasn't been done?
any of the Ninja Force.
I
would love to see the Ninja Force redone.
Okay.
That would, and especially in classified, I would like to see Slice and Dice.
Okay.
And maybe
because they kind of did Storm Shadow.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
which is neat. I like that.
Yeah, and he looks like the Ninja Force one,
Right.
but I would like to see like
Slice
maybe
and Dice.
even I hate the figure, but Dojo. He was my first one, and
with the ponytail.
Yeah, and as I like to call him, TJ Bang,
TJ Bang.
Chabang or whatever. But no, I think those would be really cool. Slice and Dice would definitely be really cool.
I think Slice and Dice are a good pair.
Yeah,
I think that they are kind of overlooked because they were part of Ninja Force.
Yeah,
but I think they're cool figures.
No, they're really
characters.
cool, and they're cool.
I like having that pairing of like guys that work together.
What was it too? I think that they were in some of the modern comics too. Under Storm Shadow, they were working with Storm Shadow at one point or something like that. I can't remember. It was some Snake Eyes comic I was reading, and they were in it. But it was cool seeing someone, I guess, like pay some respect to those guys because I love those figures.
Yeah,
but I would say probably that. I don't know. Maybe I would like to see the 90s Snake Eyes with the big orange.
Oh yeah.
Or red goggles. That would be cool. I those are my favorite figures of the 90s ones. I would like to see some more of those maybe.
I think I'm ready for a General Hawk.
Yeah.
I either want like the 86 bomber jacket one or the 90s like space suit with the jetpack thing.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Would be a really cool looking updated figure.
I love the bomber jacket version of General Hawk that they made for the 25th anniversary. It was one of the best like looking figures I think that they made in that entire line. That was such a cool figure of General Hawk. And he could pull his helmet off and he looked really cool and everything. That was a really good figure. Yeah, I don't know. I maybe the bat, is it like it's the original style bat?
Very, very similar to the original. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks really good.
That's cool. Yeah, like I said, Alley Viper's already out, so I would say that. But I guess if it came to GI, yeah, probably that Snake Eyes.
Okay.
Maybe too, like if they made some like Cobra Law type shit, like Nemesis Enforcer would be cool to see.
It would be so. I actually think I was saying that I would love to see O-ring, but like tweaked some new parts and stuff. I would love an O-ring Nemesis Enforcer that was actually intimidating.
Yeah, not like kind of a weenie like he
give
used
him
to be.
big ass wings.
Yeah,
make those spikes longer. I would love that.
The one they made for the 25th anniversary line was awesome.
It's pretty cool.
It was one of the cool, but it was
think the wings
Nemesis
are too
Immortal. Yeah, the wings are tiny, but the figure itself,
the
he
body
has
looks so much
he has
better.
like the
Yes.
elbow things coming out, and it was the only way you can get Falcon, and that was
Yeah.
a cool Falcon figure. It was pretty decent. Came
Yeah.
with the like Benelli shotgun.
I
and
like
everything.
that pack a lot.
It was cool. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's all I would say. That's what I.
All right.
And maybe if they made some of the other Cobra Commanders, like not, and I'm not talking about like the hooded Cobra
Right,
Commander, but if they made like the armor, the Fred the Seventh one
yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that, like
I think that would be a great classified figure.
I think it would be really cool. That or the one I used to love, the one where he had that golden helmet with the red face thing. I think that would be neat.
one
to
that
see
came with
those.
the little glider.
Yeah, I would like to see those. I don't know. I think those are funny. I like the gimmicky '90s
A
figures.
buddy of mine actually bought one of those carded at ZoloCon recently.
Yeah.
But the rubber band was popped. He bought it just to open it and have a mint figure. He'll change the rubber band. So I was teasing him. I was like, "Oh, you needed that glider in good shape, huh?"
Yeah, right. That's cool though.
Anyway, that was kind of our recap of what's going on with G.I. Joe for the 40th anniversary. I love this brand, and I hope it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But it's been fun watching what they're doing with it. I think they've got a team of people working on the brand that really care about it, and I hope that it can find that next level of fan base, like He-Man with the current Netflix series that's for kids and having kids' toys in the store. That's what that brand needs to stay alive, and I think that's what G.I. Joe has to find. I'm loving all this collector stuff, but they got to figure out some way of getting kids into it, and I know it's really hard because moms don't want their kids playing with toy guns anymore.
Yeah, military
it's
is
very
just not...
a very different vibe, and I don't know whether what's going on in the world now will have any impact on that, because we grew up very much where, like, Desert Storm, as we were saying, was an influence on G.I. Joe. Not to say that I want to have a war somewhere in the world to make G.I. Joe popular again, but it'll be interesting to see if that does change people's minds or hurt the brand. Because 9/11 actually hurt G.I. Joe, even though, to me, I thought it would help because we were so patriotic at the time. But Walmart started having issues with carrying the military stuff during that. So it's very interesting to see how politics affects a brand like G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I think it's different types of, like, war was looked at differently than it is now, you know?
Yeah.
It's a very overwhelmingly anti-war sentiment now, as opposed to, like, earlier in like our times, like, you still had a lot of people that were very pro-war every time. You know?
I think in the 80s it was such a weird time in that we were prepared for war, but we weren't really fighting because of the Cold War. It was like military, go America, but we weren't actually watching people get slaughtered on TV.
Yeah.
And then that rolled into, we got to defend the world from weapons of mass destruction, which still felt very like altruistic. Like, we can't let these guys have these terrible weapons. But it's a little bit more different when it's like border disputes and people invading. It gets.
I think the 90s kind of killed it. The 90s were a very cynical kind of time. People were more distrusting of government. That's why, like, in the 90s, you have Ninja Force, you have Space, you have the anti-drug ones, things like that. Like, you have these kind of gimmicky, the Eco Warriors, for instance. You had environmental stuff, you had drugs, you had ninjas, and you had space, sci-fi. They weren't straight up military figures anymore, Yeah. They kind of got away from that a bit.
That's a good point. All right, guys, thanks for hanging on the peg with us.
See you later.
I think Capcom does a great job when they're adding, like, collaboration characters.
I've never been able to extend this way.
Oh god, I gotta get the helmet on. Oh god.
Wait a minute, our guy's a bad guy the whole time.
I just think it's crazy that I'm better at video games now than when I was like 16.
That is how you fix all the problems with all these games.
I feel like toy distribution is so different than it used to be.
They resculpted over the chest. They gave him a flak jacket over it.
I laugh when I see Among Us, but I'm not having fun inside. It's a reflex.
No, you took my joke!